this week's report on climate, we are serving up a NASA double shot. NASA's Gavin Schmidt presents some Earth art with a slice of scientific fact, as does his colleague, Kathleen Gaeta, who will take us down the 2022 memory climate lane. Next up, the two faces of Sultan Al Jaber. One side is the face of the head of the state oil company, Adnoc. The other face as the president of this year's UN climate conference, COP28. Dirham coin flipping is no doubt part of his decision-making process for the future of the planet. I'd say worthy of Batman villainy status. NOLA has the week off for maintenance. First up, NASA's Gavin Schmidt, director of GISS and principal investigator for the GISS Model Earth System Model, presents some Earth art and explains the Global Modeling and Assimilation Office, GMAO.
This is the GMAO reanalysis model. What you're looking at here is a simulation of the aerosols, the small particles in the atmosphere that are being swept around by the weather patterns that you can see. All of these things are part of the emergent properties of the climate system. And you can see that everything that we put into the atmosphere is being swept around by the weather, by the climate, but in turn is affecting the weather and the climate. And so all of these things are connected, they're all linked, and they all kind of have this like very, very impressive dance that you can see very impressively here. And so you've got this interplay between natural and human factors and the chaos and the dynamics, and you can look at this and you can say, how are we ever going to make any sense out of this? It's just so dynamic. But the answer is we can make sense out of this.
So what did we see this past year? A lot. Scientists around the world determined that greenhouse gas emissions that drive climate change once again set new records. In July, we sent a new instrument called albeit to the International Space Station. albeit can identify super-emitters of methane, a powerful greenhouse gas coming from pipelines, landfills, and other sources. And it's already recorded super plumes all over the world, including in Turkmenistan, Iran, and New Mexico. Methane, carbon dioxide, and other greenhouse gases trap heat in the climate system and cause rising global surface temperatures. 2022 effectively tied for Earth's fifth warmest year since 1880, and the last 9 consecutive years have been the warmest 9 on record. And all that heat expressed itself differently across the globe this year. Most of the extra heat in the climate system builds up in the ocean, and 2022 set new records for ocean heat in independent NOAA and NASA analysis. This increased ocean heat can fuel intense tropical storms like we saw in September with Hurricane Ian. Ian rapidly intensified from a tropical storm into a Category 4 in under 24 hours and became one of the costliest storms to ever hit the U.S. As the climate system warms, the atmosphere holds more moisture, resulting in more intense heavy downpours. From June through September, Pakistan saw some of the worst flooding in a decade due to prolonged and intense monsoon rains, leaving behind a devastated community. Increasing heat not only leads to more water in the atmosphere and heavier downpours, but it also exacerbates soil moisture loss and drought, which is what we saw in the American West as it experienced ongoing droughts in 2022, leading to vital water reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell dropping to just 27% of capacity. Drier and warmer conditions mean there's more fuel and opportunities for fires. In January, during a long-standing heat wave and drought, the Corrientes province, Argentina, saw over 1,000 fires. It devastated important wetlands in Ibarra National Park and vital surrounding farmland. As we've seen, a warming climate impacts all of us, and it's going to take all of us to combat it. As we look back at 2022 and years past, we see that each year, we better understand the challenges we face and how important it is to meet them.
Back in January, the United Arab Emirates named the head of the state oil company, Adnoc, as the president of this year's UN climate conference, COP28. The appointment as COP28 president is supposedly representative of the UAE's approach to climate action, citing its pledges to reduce its own economy's use of oil while at the same time doubling down on its moral right to export every drop of fossil fuel. Now the United Arab Emirates has huge plans for oil and gas expansion, surpassed only by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Yep, that's right, the CEO of the UAE's national oil company, Adnoc, is also the president of the UN's COP28 summit in December. Presenting the one, the only, Mr. Two-Face himself, Sultan Al Jaber. Unless you discount Batman's villainous Yanas and all the oil and gas executives that have ever existed. as keynote at the annual energy conference, CERAWeek, organized by S&P Global, where global leaders get together to advance new ideas and solutions to the biggest challenges facing the future of energy, the environment and climate. You think he might have mentioned that his company, Adnoc, the world's 11th biggest oil and gas producer, which delivered more than 1 billion barrels of oil equivalent in 2021, and that his company has expansion plans to add 7.6 BBOE to its production portfolio in the coming years, which go beyond the International Energy Agency's net zero by 2050 climate scenario.
The world needs to cut emissions by 7% each year to keep 1.5 alive. We are not shying away from the energy transition. In fact, we are running towards it.
Just as I thought. Platitudes. That's it for this week. No Nola this week as she is down requiring some maintenance and she's trying to renegotiate her own channel. We were warned about AI, but did we listen? Ciao for now from me, Ole, and my little bro Ollie and the Boomer 2 network coming at you from downtown Alberta.